Hello, everybody. And today I would like to talk to you about Joe Dispenza's famous present moment. I will read some things out of his book. This is the book Becoming Supernatural, and it's by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I'm going to read some bits out of it. And this is from page 27, The Present Moment. So, if you want to experience the supernatural in your life by healing your body, creating new opportunities you could have never imagined before, and have transcendent mystical experiences, you first need to master the concept of the present moment, the eternal now. That's what he always says in all of his lectures and all of his teachings, that you always have to learn how to stay in the present moment. And this is really difficult. I've tried it many times now in meditations, and I like to obviously be longer in the present moment, and it always happens that a thought comes into my mind, and then it's obviously from the past, or I think about a future event, and this is the most difficult thing, and that's why I want to talk to you about it a little bit. So, and emotions are attached to these thoughts, and they often come as well as you think that thought. So think of emotions as the chemical residue from past experiences or chemical feedback. The stronger the emotional quotient from the event in your life, the more the experience leaves a lasting impression in your brain. That's how long-term memories are formed. So the stronger the emotional quotient from an event in your life, the more the experience leaves a lasting impression in your brain. That's how long-term memories are formed. So this is what I interpret this as: when you have like a really bad argument with someone, and in that moment when you have that argument, you feel obviously strong emotions because you're obviously giving answers back, and what you hear creates an emotion from that person. And that argument will stay in your mind, and the next time you meet that person, you will immediately think of that argument, and it makes you, gives you a certain feeling. So every time you see that person now, you will possibly think of that argument if it hasn't been resolved, and then it might stay in your mind, and you will always think of that person in this certain way. That's just an example. So I think that's what it's meant like that. And then you obviously always meet that person with a certain predisposed feeling. So that's what I understood with that. Obviously also other things, if you have a traumatic experience with your bike and you fall off a bike because you went on a muddy lane, and maybe you have a fear then going on your bike again and cycling that track or something. So that's what I think. The more you repeat a thought, choice, behavior, experience, or emotion, the more the neurons fire and wire together, and the more they will sustain a long-term relationship. So now you have had that argument with your friend. You will repeat that thought in your mind. You think over and over and over and over and over and over again. The next time you meet that friend, you might just be really angry with them and just like reproduce that past experience, and it will be a continuous fight with them. That's what I think. So then we go further on 29. It says how your past becomes your future. Let's take a closer look at what happens biochemically inside your body when you think a thought or feel an emotion. When you think a thought or have a memory, a biochemical reaction begins in your brain, causing the brain to release certain chemical signals. That's how immaterial thoughts literally become matter. they become chemical messengers. These chemical signals make your body feel exactly the way you were just thinking. Once you notice you are feeling a particular way, then you generate more thoughts equal to you are feeling, and then you release more chemicals from your brain to make you feel the way you have been thinking. So here it gives you also an example. For example, if you have a fearful thought, you start to feel fear. The moment you feel fear, the emotion influences you to think more fearful thoughts. And those thoughts trigger the release of even more chemicals in the brain and body that make you feel more fear. The next thing you know, you get caught in a loop where your thinking creates a feeling and your feeling creates a thinking. So that's a continuous vicious circle. If thoughts are the vocabulary of the brain and feelings are the vocabulary of the body, and the cycle of how you think and how you feel becomes your state of being, then your entire state of being is in the past. So this is basically a really good example of how your thinking influences your mind, and how you actually have a vicious circle around one thought, and your feelings are just there and you enhance it all the time, and it's just this circle of and it's there for a state of being. So that's very sad, I think, that happens. So I'm then going to show you now. I love this picture here, and Joe Dispenza puts it always in his in one of his, when I watched his intensive and progressive workshop, he drew it on the board. And this is so cool, because look at this. This is siphoning energy out of the present moment. So that's now, and that's you, obviously. That's where you are. This is your past. There, look at this. That's how your experiences have been. So you go to work, you drive your car the same way, you eat your same meal, you see the same people, and you think the same thoughts around those people, and you put it onto your future because you never get out of your vicious circle. So that is how he displays it also on the board. I find this very interesting. Right, that's this. If you place your attention, if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, the moment you put your attention on familiar feelings and memories, you are siphoning your energy into the past out of the present moment. In the same way, if your attention is constantly on all the people you see, the places you have to go, the things you have to do at the certain times of your known familiar reality, then you are siphoning your energy out of the present moment into the predictable future. And this is what this picture demonstrates. So now let's look at this. Priming your mind and body for a new future. So this tells you now how you can actually get out of this and make sure that you make changes in your life. So if you are familiar with my work, Dr. Joe's work, you know that I'm in love with the concept of mental rehearsal. And he calls it mental rehearsal because you are actually putting a picture into your mind how your future is going to be and how you like to see it, and then you obviously put your feelings into it as well. So how would you feel at this moment when you do feel that, when you do have that experience? So I'm fascinated by how we change the brain as well as the body by thought alone. Think about that for a moment. If you focus your attention on specific imagery in your mind and become very present in a sequence of repeated thoughts and feelings, your brain and body will not know the difference between what's occurring in the outer world and what's happening in the inner world. So basically, what you think and how you feel in your brain doesn't care whether it's in reality or not. It thinks it's reality anyhow. So you can just actually think of anything, and you have to think it over and over and over again. Think of like a football player who practices his skills of keeping a ball up on his on his front of his foot. And how often has he got to do it before he actually manages to actually keep the ball up and not let it drop on the floor? So that's basically how often you have to think a thought in order to make it your reality. So when you are fully engaged and focused, the inner world of imagination will appear as an outer world experience, and your biology will change accordingly. That means you can make your brain and body look as if the physical experience has already happened without having the actual experience. What you put your attention on and mentally rehearse over and over again not only becomes who you are from biological perspective, it also determines your future. Yes, and then he obviously goes on to the Harvard researchers team who have had piano players practicing the scales 2 hours a day for I think it was 5 days a week. And 5 days a week. And then another group who just mentally rehearsed doing the same activity, but just mentally rehearsing it. And both of them had the same formed the same synaptic connections in their brains, and therefore it's proven that what you think is your reality. So it makes it reality. Yeah, so that's the video for today. It's a bit longer than usual, but I hope it helps you, and I hope I get to remember it more now. Well, have a pleasant day. Bye bye.